Hello, I've missed you guys. Hope you enjoyed the last module, which was taken by David on Tech Stack, or just like a quick guest module for you to have fun with. In this one, you're going to write code. Spoiler alert, you're definitely going to write code in this one. Not much. Don't get discouraged. But we are going to be querying some APIs. We're talking about APIs, not APIs. We're talking about REST APIs. I mean, next month we'll talk about APIs, but this one we'll talk about REST APIs. We'll have to download some tools to our devices, use Postman, we'll write some code. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. My flower is back. Unfortunately, I have to break up with this flower. It was nice while it lasted. How many content did you stay with me? I think 4 contents. I moved on to someone else. So just show you away. The next one can come in. My new pretty flower. I hope it makes this shot a little bit fresher, cleaner. Yeah. So REST APIs. So what are REST APIs? In fact, before we talk about REST APIs, what are APIs? In the short form, API is a way for one system, there's some sort of protocols or standard that a particular system exposes for another system to communicate with itself. So for example, one very good example is your remote control and your television. For those of us that have television in our house, your TV exposes certain standards so that I can make a control that actually tunes the TV, turns up the volume whenever I try to turn on the volume or change to Big Brother Nigeria to watch the latest one or something, right? So because of the TV has exposed an API, DSTV has exposed an API, the control is interacting with those APIs, so it can communicate with it. So basically, when two systems need to communicate with each other, they communicate via API, Application Programming Interface. So API is just a set of standard protocols, whatever you call it, that allows two systems to communicate with one another, right? For this module, we are looking particularly at REST API, which is kind of like the API that web systems, internet systems use to communicate among each other. There are other kind of API that are being used, but REST API is like you would have dealt with it as a product manager. Like, if you've not dealt with it as a product manager, you will definitely deal with it sometimes down the line. Paystack, Flutterwave, Mono, Bra, all of them is REST API used to communicate with them most of the time, right? So it's in JSON, XML, HTTP, all this like fancy stuff. So we'll be looking at really how to communicate with some of these APIs. You would also write some scripts. Don't worry, most of the code will be presented to you. You don't need to know much. It's not going to be too technical. But you also write some scripts to communicate with these APIs yourself. You download Postman. Postman is the tool you'll be using on your day job for these APIs. We'll look at API testing and writing acceptance criteria. I'll be using my perspective, having worked in fintech, on how to write acceptance criteria for some of these APIs. And this is going to be very useful for your backend. I mean, we've all been in that situation whereby our frontend is telling us, oh, the backend is not ready. The backend is not giving me the right response. It's not providing me with the right response. And you're talking to the backend developer, and the backend developer is saying, oh, I'm done. Everything is ready. And you talk to the frontend, and the frontend is saying, and the backend is not providing the right response. And you're like, as a product manager, you're like, what do I do next? What do I do? So now you'll be able, after this course, you'll be able to say, what is the specification for the backend? The backend guy develops that specification. And you'll be able to test it that it meets the standard. So when the front-end guy tells you, you know what front-end and back-end is because of tech stacks, right? So when the front-end guy tells you the back-end is not working, but like, bro, or sis, it's working. I can see it here, it's working. And when the back-end guy tells you, I'm done and it's not done, you're like, it's not working, I'll fire you. I mean, I don't know if you can fire your devs, but you get the gist. So stay tuned. That fun in this episode is going to be a very fun, technical, interesting ride. See you. Bye.